What's up, guys? We are here to check out the collected Miscellany. I just think it's collected information. We'll go with that. If you guys are enjoying the videos, let me know. If you guys want me to react to some more stuff, drop it in the comments below. Definitely look into that. And thank you guys. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me since I've started doing some more Genshin stuff, and we're kind of branching out for what we normally do from anime. But if you guys are enjoying it, we'll keep doing it. And let's get some more in. I don't know how many parts this video is going to be.
Venti has recently appeared
there's a
in
lot.
The world. Singing
I was looking at all these. I
tales
was like, oh my god,
for the
these are pretty long.
romance. This city is Mondstadt, the crown of the north. A free nation with no ruler. This once bitter cold land in the north of Tivat is now fertile.
Is
a
it?
blessing left by the god of Anemo, they say.
Oh.
1,000 years have passed since the god
Whose
of
voice
Anemo
actor
left
is
this
this?
land.
Like,
But to me, it has only been half that
I
time.
wish I had such a
Come on,
soft,
traveler,
beautiful
let's
voice
go.
like that.
The world is full of lost
It's just
ballads
tough.
just waiting to be rediscovered.
Yeah, Venti.
As
Show me
an
what's up.
archer with the power of Anemo, Venti can battle with ease in almost any environment. His versatile attack style and his ability to
Venti
launch
is useful
enemies
as
with his
fuck, I'm not
elemental
gonna
skill
lie.
allow for a high amount of mobility in battle.
Like,
His
Venti's
unique
so
elemental
good.
burst can pull together nearby enemies, making him a strategic character who can both deal damage and control the
Oh
battlefield.
yeah. That and he can also
When
lift himself
Venti
up
is in
higher
your
too.
party, gliding consumes less stamina for all characters.
Oh.
Needless to say, this skill will come in handy on your adventures.
That's
Take
nifty.
Venti along when exploring the
don't remember
beautiful
that.
open world. Normal attacks can perform up to 6 consecutive shots. The first and fourth shots can fire an extra arrow,
Okay.
while the 6th shot deals greater damage. Hold the attack button to use a more powerful aimed shot.
When you get the more constellations,
When fully
he starts
charged,
firing extra
an
ones.
Anemo-infused arrow is fired.
So good.
And deals even more damage to the enemy. Call upon the wind on which hymns and songs fly, to lift your enemies up into the sky.
That's a cute
When
little
you
sonnet.
use the elemental skill Skyward Sonnet, Venti summons a wind domain at the enemy's location, dealing area of effect Anemo damage. Enemies are launched into the air and fall slowly to the ground. Hold Skyward Sonnet to summon an even larger wind domain around
That's
Venti.
that wind
Dealing
domain right
greater
there.
area
That's
of
some good
effect
shit right
damage
there,
and
guys.
launching
That's some real
enemies
good
into
stuff.
the air. Venti also uses this powerful wind to fly high into the air. Adept use of this skill not only allows you to attack enemies, but also dodge attacks and move around the environment.
Mastering the
If
timing
the
of that is the
opportunity
hard
presents
part.
itself, you can also use a plunging attack from above. Wind domains can even be utilized to help you get around.
There's that utility. There's that utility we were talking about.
After unlocking the talent Embrace of Winds, holding Skyward Sonnet will also create a temporary upcurrent as you fly into the air. By firing an arrow infused with coalesced winds, Venti creates a fierce storm that sucks in surrounding enemies and deals Anemo damage.
You do
Contact
like
with hydro,
Venti's ult
pyro,
right there,
cryo,
and then you
or
toss
electro
like Klee in the mix.
causes the storm to absorb that element
It's
and deal
troublesome.
additional elemental damage. The storm can only absorb one element each time. After unlocking the talent Storm Eye, Venti's energy will be replenished at the end of Wind's Grand Ode. If an element was absorbed, the energy of party members of that element will also be replenished.
Really? I didn't know
Even though
that.
Venti is more than capable of handling different obstacles in battle, strategic party selection and teamwork can help you maximize Venti's abilities. First, use Divine Archery to attack enemies from afar and whittle away at their health. Use Skyward Sonnet
Little
to launch
combo attack
dangerous
right there.
enemies
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah.
air. Gather up energy to prepare for the final attack. When your energy is full, unleash your elemental burst. Wind's Grand Ode sucks the enemies in and deals Anemo damage. Use
Are you
another
gonna combo
element
it?
on
Come on,
enemies
let's
in
go.
the storm to generate a swirl reaction.
There we go.
Then use another compatible element to cause an elemental reaction. causing another elemental
Just cleaning
reaction
house,
brings the
right?
battle
Cleaning
to a
house.
swift end. As we all know, poetry and language flow like the wind. Venti captures this spirit in his ballads. Flora and fauna he sings of seem to have a life of their own and transport us to the moon and the stars. This self-proclaimed best bard of the mortal world gets his strength, his unwithering inspiration from the wind.
Really? Really?
But what Venti seeks in life
Tell me more about Venti.
is not eternal fame for his ballads.
I like how they did like
Rather,
a
he'd be happy
stained
with a cup
glass
of wine
setup for that. That is
and
really
a
cool.
lyre to sing the marvelous stories of the world. Yes, that would make Venti the Bard very content indeed.
Cool. Never knew that about Venti. Although to be honest, I never watched these back in the day, so like I never even knew that was a thing.
As the Dawn Winery's owner, Diluc dominates Mondstadt's
Tell me,
alcohol
Diluc.
industry. Wealth and information are at his fingertips. Modest and refined, yet quick to act whenever Mondstadt faces a crisis. What caused him to choose this path? How very curious.
Yes.
There must
How
be
very
those who
curious.
dare to pierce the darkness with their light.
As one who wields pyro and a claymore, Diluc has perfected the art of violence and dominates the battlefield. With his
I don't think I've
powerful
ever heard
skills,
something
Diluc
perfected the
causes
art of
massive damage with
violence.
ease and
What?
crushes all his foes with
I mean,
fearsome,
don't get me wrong,
ruthless
like
strikes.
he a badass, but like
Born a noble, Diluc is well versed in all things swords. With his guidance, no
Yeah,
metal
yeah, yeah.
ore is wasted in their making. When forging claymores, Diluc recovers a set percentage of the ores used, aiding greatly in your adventure.
what?
Diluc's normal attack performs up to 4
I
consecutive
can see how that can be
strikes,
really useful when you're
with the
upgrading your
4th
weapons.
strike launching enemies. Holding the attack button constantly consumes Diluc's stamina to launch swift consecutive attacks, dealing increased physical damage to nearby enemies, and unleashing an extra powerful attack at the end that launches enemies. Use this wisely to scatter enemy groups and defeat shielded foes.
Oh.
Unlocking the talent Relentless decreases Diluc's charged attack stamina consumption and increases its maximum duration. Use his fierce attacks to defeat those before you. Using the elemental skill Searing Onslaught, Diluc strikes with his claymore, dealing pyro damage. This can be done 3 times in a row, with a short window of time to connect each strike. But pay attention. This skill enters cooldown if the next strike is not activated in a short period of time. Using Searing Onslaught in concert with normal attacks allows you to deal constant damage to enemies, while remaining evasive and mobile. Additionally, since this skill deals pyro damage, Diluc can
Show me
form
some combos,
combinations with other
yeah.
characters, using elemental reactions to deal greater damage.
Verdict is?
Surrounding himself in flames,
Man
Diluc
shoots a
knocks
firebird
nearby
at people.
enemies back, before gathering the flames into his blade and launching a phoenix, dealing massive pyro damage to enemies in its path.
You got them
Diluc's
slimes that got the
normal and charged
little
attacks
ice caps on them.
will
That's how you get
also
rid of them,
deal
okay?
pyro damage for a period of time. Dawn has a very large hitbox,
You know, I
allowing
really
it
like
to not only strike airborne foes, but also
graphics
forcibly
of the
reposition
fire.
enemies to an extent, making it very
And
strong
then afterwards,
against
like how it
groups.
kind of creates that the
The
wind
pyro
current
damage
afterwards. Like,
conversion that
I really
Dawn
like,
provides
I like that
further
mechanic.
strengthens Diluc's attacks. Unlocking the Blessing of Phoenix talent increases the duration of Dawn's pyro damage conversion,
Oh,
and gives Diluc a pyro damage bonus.
yo, you can have the
Diluc
sword
is,
charged
without
like that
question,
from
a
the
well-honed
fire,
warrior
from the fire shooting your ult,
who efficiently
and then
deals with
still
any
just do the
task.
auto attack. That's broken.
Now, please witness him in action. He begins suppressing the target with normal attacks, combining it with his elemental skill to deal great pyro damage to the enemy.
Okay.
He weaves between these 2 attack modes to suppress the foe more quickly, while building up elemental energy. He uses his elemental burst once his energy is full, followed by attacks enhanced by Blessing of Phoenix, defeating the enemy flawlessly.
Just made it look easy.
Ruthless fighting style,
easy
and his
mode him
aloof
right
manner
there.
are all admirable traits. But if the disaster from 5 centuries ago were to happen again, if he were to face the same evil that I once did, would he still hold fast to his resolve?
Probably not.
This too makes me most curious indeed.
I am also very curious about this. Not gonna lie. Yeah, D-Luke. What a fire daddy. That guy. Complete hothead. Oh.
There are many remarkable people in Mondstadt's Knights of Favonius.
This gonna be fun.
Among them is a small knight who raised Stormbearer Mountains flat, and whose name has recently become commonplace both within Mondstadt and beyond. When it comes to Spark Knight Klee, there are rumors aplenty. Interestingly, those telling these rumors do so with a smirk and a shake of their heads, joking that even Mondstadt's fish have learned to swim away when they see her.
Can I come play with you today? Please? I want to go on an adventure.
Yeah,
Well
I wanna go on
known
adventure
as
too,
the
Klee.
Spark
Tell me
Knight,
what's up.
Klee is able to deal continuous pyro damage with her childlike glee and a pack and pockets full of bombs. But watch out,
Yeah, I never really thought about
as
it.
anything
Where does
near
Klee
her
even
may be
keep all them
turned to
bombs?
ash in a fiery explosion.
Like, she got a backpack, but that... I don't see how that could
Klee
work.
loves adventures and is adept at expeditions and gathering. Not only does she know the locations of Mondstadt's unique flora, she may also know where to find a treasure or two. When Klee is on your team, the location of items unique to Mondstadt will appear on your minimap. When it comes to anything explosive, Klee simply can't control her enthusiasm. Klee's normal attack performs up to 3 consecutive explosive attacks that deal AoE pyro damage. Holding the attack button consumes a certain amount of stamina, and after a short casting time blasts enemies, dealing AoE pyro damage. When Klee is up high, her charged attack can reach enemies even farther away. Also,
Her charge attack is so
Klee's
good.
normal and charged attacks are especially effective against geo-targets, making them ideal against enemies with geo-shields, and for quickly mining ore. After unlocking the talent Sparkling Burst, when Klee's charged
Wait, you can
attack
use
lands
her
a
to-
jumpy hit, some energy will be restored for all party members.
I mean,
Use
shit,
Klee's
I should have been
elemental
watching these
skill
when I
to
first started
toss
playing the
Jumpy
goddamn
Dumpty.
game. God damn.
Jumpy Dumpty will bounce 3 times, each bounce causing an explosion that deals AoE pyro damage. On the 3rd bounce, Jumpy Dumpty will burst into mines. These explode upon contact with enemies or after a short time, dealing AoE pyro damage. Jumpy Dumpty will automatically recharge over time to up to 2 charges. It is effective in dealing with groups of enemies. After Jumpy Dumpty explodes, switch characters and pull enemies
Can you
together
imagine
to
being
take
this voice
advantage of
actor
the
and having
mines and
customers
deal a
say
lot of
Jumpy
damage to
Dumpty,
enemies?
Jumpy Dumpty?
After unlocking
Jumpy
the
Dumpty?
talent Pounding Surprise, when Jumpy Dumpty and normal
Jumpy
attacks
Dumpty.
deal damage, Klee has a chance to obtain an explosive spark.
I can't say it without smiling.
When Klee has an explosive spark, instead of consuming
Klee
stamina,
uses the
her
Jumpy
next
Dumpty.
charged attack will
I
expend the spark
can't
instead
say it without smiling.
and deal increased damage.
Blow them all up!
Klee's Blazing Delight, Sparks and Splash continuously
that
attacks
dodge right
nearby
there,
enemies for the
man.
duration of the skill,
Jeez.
dealing AoE pyro damage. Sparks and Splash has high damage and attack rate, empowering Klee to deal immense
You shouldn't
damage
be
while
using
on the
the fire, a
battlefield.
pyro against that
Klee is able
other...
to continuously
whatever.
dish out
Your
strong
best
pyro attacks, earning her a role as
Yo,
the firepower
that's
of your
okay.
party.
That looked cool.
Next,
That looks so awesome.
let's look at a battle to experience Klee's incredible destructive capability.
Yeah,
in
show me a battle.
Klee can use her elemental skill and normal attacks to repeatedly activate the effect of the talent Pounding Surprise, and use charged attacks to suppress enemies. When her energy
Just
is
clean
full,
them up.
unleash an elemental burst to further increase her ability to deal damage. After this, Klee can have fun causing explosions, spreading flames in every direction, and burning enemies to a crisp.
He makes it sound so
When
fun.
the people of Mondstadt talk about their home, they proudly call it the City of Wind, Dandelions, and Freedom.
And fire.
Perhaps it was Mondstadt's atmosphere of freedom that led the famous adventurer Alice to entrust her daughter Klee to the care of the Knights of Favonius. With this freedom, Klee has had a happy and unrestrained childhood.
How old is
But all
Klee?
baby birds must leave the nest someday. Hopefully, our little Spark Knight will remain just as happy-go-lucky when that day comes. And keep smiling all the way.
I mean, that is really cute, but now I'm kind of curious. Like, how old is Klee? Is this like a Pokemon thing? Where like she like left at like 8, 9 years old and was like, I'm gonna go adventure and blow shit up. Bye, Mom. What? Okay. Okay.
When Grandmaster Varka of Mondstadt's Knights of Favonius left on an expedition, his role passed to Jean, the eldest daughter of House Gunhildr. The young acting Grandmaster had become a skilled swordsman through hard work, and works harder still for the sake of the Knights.
Really?
Self-sacrifice, after all, is the Dandelion Knight's path.
As the wind continues to blow, so too shall I
That's a really
continue to
cool
fight.
sword, not gonna lie.
Jean has excellent
Rapier?
crowd control
Sword?
and
Rapier?
support
Yeah,
abilities, and can act in concert with others to suppress the enemy. Jean's elemental burst can instantly restore her health, and benefit her allies as well, making
Is
her the
Jean
pillar
still
of
like a
any
really
team.
good healer?
Even when cooking, Jean is always concerned with helping others, and can accidentally make extra helpings.
I mean, I
When
like
Jean
that.
cooks a restorative dish perfectly, she has a chance to create 2 of them.
I don't
All
remember
the
if I
better
got
to
Jean.
face the battles ahead. Jean can perform up to 5 consecutive normal
At some point,
attacks,
we'll have to get
dealing
to
physical damage to enemies.
looking at my account. We'll
Holding
get to
the
that.
attack
That's
button
probably going to be
consumes a set
another.
amount of stamina.
another
and
video that I
unleashes
gotta do a bunch of editing
wind-infused
for.
thrust that deals high physical damage and launches
But
enemies.
yeah, we'll get to looking at my
Launched
account, and looking
enemies
at my
will fall
characters,
slowly
and,
for a short
you know,
time,
seeing all the fun
allowing
stuff.
Jean to control the flow of battle
I'm gonna hate it.
and give her
I hate it
teammates
because
a
I'm gonna look
chance to
back at how
perform
trash my
follow-up
character I
attacks
was, or
more
player I
safely.
was.
Unlocking the talent
Yeah.
Wind Companion gives Jean's normal attacks a chance to heal all party members on hit. This healing scales with Jean's attack power. Tapping her elemental skill
Whoa, her
Gale
healing
Blade causes Jean to gather
that attack
formless wind on
scales
her
with
sword
her attack
and unleash
power?
a small storm, launching enemies in the direction Jean is aiming, dealing anemo damage. Holding Gale Blade constantly consumes Jean's stamina, pulling nearby enemies in front of her, and allowing her to adjust the direction in which she wishes to launch them,
That's
dealing
kinda
anemo
cool.
damage. Enemies
literally just
launched
suck
by
'em in,
Gale
they get 'em
Blade will
attack
remain
you?
clumped together when they fall, making follow-up attacks easier. Gale Blade is a very flexible ability. Strategic
You can
use
push
of
him
the
off the
surrounding
cliff.
terrain will often amplify its effects.
That's hilarious.
Wind, hear me.
Calling upon the wind's protection, Jean creates a dandelion field, knocking nearby enemies back and dealing anemo damage. The
lot of
field
damage.
also quickly heals nearby allies and all party members. This healing scales with Jean's attack power. The dandelion field continuously heals characters within it, infusing them with anemo, while dealing anemo damage to enemies who enter or leave the field. Once the talent Let the Wind Lead is unlocked, using Dandelion Field will regenerate some additional elemental energy.
Will it now?
Jean can help her team take charge, aid in their attacks, and do great damage through skillful use of her abilities. A well-rounded
And she got
fighter
some
indeed.
badass heals. Not gonna lie. Okay.
Start the
And
battle by using
them-
her
them
elemental
diamond,
skill. Mop up nearby enemy
leggings
groups and
pretty
build
fucking
elemental
cool too.
energy.
Alright.
Then use her charged attack to disrupt their movements, allowing your party members to switch in, attack, and deal damage. When your party members have taken significant damage, use her elemental burst at the opportune moment to repel enemies and regenerate your team's health before beginning the next round of attacks to finish the fight. Though Jean may lack
Jean's still gotta be, like, a top-tier healer,
Mondstadt
right?
has only prospered since she assumed Varka's great responsibilities. Even I, who has seen countless people, must respect her desire to always defend Mondstadt. But unlike most who bear great burdens, This young knight has remained as tenacious as ever.
Tenacious.
How was her will molded, and what sustains her edge such that it never wears down? If fate wills it, I will find the answer to these questions.
You know, the more I watch these, the more I want to get these characters and play with them, and the more I realize I need more money. A lot more money. A lot more money than
Children
I don't
as special
have.
as Chi-Chi are few and far between.
Hey!
As a zombie, time has no effect on her, but she has difficulty committing things to memory.
Same. I
For
commit.
Chi-Chi,
I
perhaps this
struggle.
is a good thing. She can forget her past and be an herb gatherer at Boo Boo Pharmacy.
Boo
But
Boo
those
Pharmacy
who
is what the place
underestimate
is
her
called.
just for being a child,
They got that
do
good
so
down at Boo
their
Boo.
peril.
I am
I've never realized
Chi-Chi.
that's what it was called. Boo Boo
I
Pharmacy.
am a zombie. And I forgot what comes next.
With her mastery over cryo, Chi-Chi is a powerful asset to your team.
No, Chi-Chi don't play.
Despite her size, she has the strength to protect others. With Chi-Chi by your side, you will always feel safe. When gathering herbs, she always knows where to find them, because she always carries a notebook with her that has all their locations marked, lest she go out and become completely lost.
And Chi-Chi's a
With
cryo
Chi-Chi on
healer,
your
right?
team, the mini-map will show areas where plants unique to Liyue grow, making it easier to gather certain resources. Chi-Chi's normal attack can combo up to 5 slashes, dealing physical damage to
Or am I
enemies.
mistaking
Holding the
Chi-Chi
attack button
for
consumes a set amount
another
of stamina
ice person?
and releases a 2-slash flurry, dealing high physical damage. Using Chi-Chi's elemental skill, Herald of Frost, deals cryo damage to surrounding enemies.
Just walk through
Herald
and
of
smack
Frost
him.
moves with the character, dealing damage along the way, while also healing the current character periodically. While Herald of Frost is active, normal and charged attack hits heal the entire party and nearby allies by a set amount based on Chi-Chi's attack power. Not only does this increase the team's endurance, it also allows you to dominate the enemy when paired with Hydro. This skill is also useful during exploration. Using it to freeze
Wait, why
water
are you running
surfaces
a?
is a
Why do
sound
they even
strategy
just
for
showcase a
conserving
Barbara and
stamina.
Chi-Chi team?
After unlocking the
would
talent
you even want
life-prolonging
that?
methods, when a character under the influence of Adeptus Art Herald of Frost triggers an elemental reaction, incoming healing is increased.
Sacred name, Fortune Preserver.
When Chi-Chi releases the adeptal power sealed inside herself, she marks nearby enemies with a fortune-preserving talisman and deals cryo damage to them. When enemies marked with fortune-preserving talismans take damage, the character dealing the damage is healed. By choosing an opportune moment to use Adeptus Art Preserver of Fortune, the whole team can be protected while dishing out damage.
Which is really convenient.
After unlocking the talent A Glimpse into Arcanum, normal and charged attack hits have a chance to tag enemies with a fortune-preserving talisman, once per set time period.
What? You can
Chi-Chi
you
has
can
the
do
ability
basically
to
do what her
constantly
ult
heal.
does?
An
Imagine
excellent
if you could like have
safeguard
that constantly
helps
trigger
keep
on like a
your team
boss or
alive.
something.
The more difficult the battle, the more apparent Chi-Chi's assistance becomes. When entering battle, first use Herald of Frost to allow your team to deal constant cryo damage, and easily trigger elemental reactions for greater damage. The effects of Herald of Frost will keep your team fighting fit, until the right moment comes to unleash an elemental burst, allowing your team to safely unleash all the firepower they've got. As a zombie, Chi-Chi has escaped.
I still
the
can't wrap my
grip of
mind around
both
running a
time
Chi-Chi and a
death.
Barbara in the same
How
team.
Chi-Chi entered this state
Why
of
would you need that
existence,
much heals?
I do not know.
Or is one of them bad
But
with
I
heals?
doubt it was of her own volition. Are the heavenly principles toying with her? Or is fate seeking to torture her? Is
Fate's
an
probably seeking to
ordinary
torture her.
life of
Tortures
simple
me all the time.
pleasures really a thing so fragile?
Working down a Boo Boo Pharmacy. We got that good. You got that toilet paper? We got that Boo Boo. We got. You want toilet paper? We got it at Boo Boo Pharmacy. I'm done. Mona. Ooh, this would be fun.
The stars illuminate all mortal destinies, though few have eyes to perceive their meaning. But
Okay.
Mona, an astrologist newly arrived in Mondstadt, is able to read the fates of others through stars reflected in the water. But while no phenomenon is hidden from the astrologist Mona, she struggles often with the minutiae of daily life.
She's got such a really cool character design.
It is a most common predicament. The more you seek truth, the more simple joys elude you.
Like you can
This
tell
was
whoever
ordained
like
by
really
fate.
like designed her
Long
like
had I
really
foreseen
put
it.
their time in.
Mona has skill that matches
it.
her reputation. As a hydro-aligned catalyst user, she masters the battlefield with ease, controlling the situation and creating openings for her teammates to attack. As a student of all things in and under the night sky, Mona also has a strong grasp of weapon construction. In truth, she finds that most weapons are wastefully made. When she crafts weapon ascension
Wait.
materials, she has a chance to recover a portion of the materials used.
Really? Okay,
Mona's
that's nice.
normal attack performs up to 4 strikes that deal hydro damage. Holding the attack button consumes a set amount of stamina and deals area of effect hydro damage after a short
Smack
casting
the
time.
shit out of that fire boy.
Mona creates a phantom of fate from coalesced water. This phantom taunts nearby
It's got a
enemies
little-
and deals continuous
little
hydro
Mona thing
damage
above
to
it.
them. The phantom explodes when its duration expires, dealing area of effect hydro damage to enemies.
Wow. Okay.
Holding the elemental skill button causes Mona to ride a flow of water backwards and summon her phantom. This skill has many applications. The phantom can be used to taunt enemies, making them wet and priming them for attacks from Mona's allies. It can also help her out of a pinch.
Yo, you can.
When Mona
Like a little
sprints,
ninjutsu
she
right
cloaks
there, like a little
herself in
summoning
flowing
totem.
water, consuming stamina to move rapidly. Ending this skill causes Mona to emerge, getting nearby enemies wet. Illusory Torrent also allows Mona to travel swiftly over
Dude,
water.
I didn't know Mona could do that. That's
Once
freaking
her
awesome.
first passive talent is unlocked, Mona can create a phantom automatically if she maintains this skill for a certain period of time with an enemy nearby.
Wow, that's actually really useful.
Fate is upon you.
Mona summons sparkling waves and creates a reflection of the starry sky, applying the wet and illusory bubble statuses onto all enemies in the area. When affected by illusory bubble, weaker enemies will be imprisoned and unable to move. Attacking imprisoned enemies removes that status from them,
Okay,
and
so it's like
deals
a
an
stun then.
instance of hydro damage. When the status is cleared, the enemy comes under an omen. Enemies affected by an omen take more damage.
Ooh, wow, that's a pretty huge damage jump right there.
On the ever-changing battlefield, Mona's capacity for control cannot be overlooked. This astrologist aids her team at critical moments, controlling the field
Yo,
and
Mona don't
maximizing
play.
her teammates'
Dang, dude, I
damage.
didn't realize that.
As the battle begins, she first summons a phantom. It taunts enemies and lets her switch out, using the opening created to cooperate with her teammates and deal massive damage to enemies. She uses these combined techniques to control enemies, allowing the party to damage them safely. Once the time is right, she uses her elemental burst to entrap enemies and attacks them to trigger damage bonus effects. This way, she can defeat the weakened enemies before her all in good time.
Just Mona made. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Mona's
I
hydromancy is indeed
Never played with
unique.
Mona. That's
No
insane.
one can deny her intelligence and talent. Within Mondstadt, there are few who possess the ability and a desire to seek truth equal to hers. But beware, O young seeker.
Beware.
You must sacrifice your all to unravel the world's secrets. Can
Really?
the astrologist Mona truly bear such a burden?
I mean, sure, why not? That's crazy. I didn't realize how powerful Mona is. That's insane.
Everyone in Liyue knows it is Rex Lapis who protects their borders.
Rex Lapis.
But the city's daily affairs are run by the Qixing.
I would not have pronounced
As
that like
Yuheng
that.
of the Qixing,
Chi swing?
Kuching acts
Chi swing?
decisively and
Ka-chi?
pragmatically, knowing every inch of Liyue like the back
I mean,
of her hand.
I think I've heard this
Yet
guy.
as
I
a
may have this character. I don't
representative of
know.
the mortals of
But
Liyue,
like, her name is Kaching.
she has much to say
Shut
about
up,
Rex
dude, it's
Lapis's
Kaching.
unilateral governance.
We live in an era of change, as the old order that has existed for 1,000 years is about to be rewritten.
Within the Qixing, Kuching is one for action.
Kaching,
Ruthless
I love
efficiency
it.
is her modus operandi. Like her personality, her sword work is both swift and uncompromising. This, along with her control of Electro, brings a shockingly abrupt end to any enemy.
Wow.
Kuching could not be more familiar with Liyue.
Kaching ain't playing.
Even on long journeys, she always finds a swift route back home. If dispatched on an expedition in Liyue, she
Oh,
will
she's an
complete it more
expedition bonus
quickly than
person.
most.
Well, that's cool. Gotta get them daily
Kuching can
farms in,
unleash
you
a
know what I mean?
combo of up to 5 normal attacks, her final strike allowing her to pass through enemies.
Ooh, nice little knock
Yunlai
up there, too.
swordsmanship is both offensive and defensive, offering a way to dodge some attacks
Every
and
one of her
strike back
attacks is
from a
just
better
money,
angle.
dude. Kaching.
Hold the attack button to consume stamina, and release a 2/ flurry, dealing high physical damage.
Yo.
Tap Kuching's elemental skill Stellar Restoration to throw a lightning stiletto, which deals electro damage to enemies in a small area upon impact,
Is that a
and
lightning
leaves
stiletto?
behind a lightning stiletto marker. If
Really? It's
Kuching
lightning-
uses Stellar
Girls
Restoration
throwing
again while
stilettos
the
at
marker
people,
is still
too?
present, she flies to the marker and performs a quick slash, dealing electro AoE damage.
Yeah, you get that electro AoE damage.
Holding
Toss the
Stellar
stilettos at
Restoration
people.
allows Kuching to aim the lightning stiletto before releasing it. Adept use of the lightning stiletto produces various results. With the lightning stiletto, Kuching can flash into battle and attack from the best
Yo,
position.
that's cool.
The lightning stiletto can also be used in exploration to navigate challenging terrain.
Really?
Kuching can
That is
also
super
clear the
useful.
lightning stiletto with a charged attack, causing a slashing thunderstorm that deals electro
And that
AoE
does an
damage
AoE
at its
attack, so like
location.
you could do that with like Venti's ultimate then?
Deft use of this skill
guess
allows
everything
Kuching
combos
to
with Venti's
creatively
ultimate
deal
and
ranged
spells,
damage.
right.
After unlocking the talent Thundering Penance, using Stellar Restoration while the Lightning Stiletto is present, converts Kuching's normal and charged attacks to electro damage for a short time.
Cut to the chase!
Kuching unleashes her electro power, causing electro AoE damage.
Well, that's cool.
Hiding behind the shadow of
Yeah.
her sword, she relentlessly slashes surrounding enemies at lightning
Kaching
speed,
ain't playing. Ain't
dealing
playing.
multiple rounds of
What a
damage,
shocking experience.
with a final burst of electro AoE damage at the end. After unlocking the talent Aristocratic Dignity, casting Starward Sword increases Kuching's crit rate and energy recharge for a period of time.
Crit, huh? So if you can increase her attack speed
Light on her feet and leaving no
and
shadow,
crit damage,
Kuching is a
that could
sharp
be
addition to any
really,
team.
really good
Groups
combo.
of enemies or single opponents are no match for a well-executed combination of her skills. Kuching cuts them all down with ease. The key to combat with Kuching is mastery of the Lightning Stiletto.
I mean, yeah, you
First,
can literally
use her
teleport wherever you
elemental
want.
skill to place the
It's
stiletto.
wild.
Then,
Can
use
you
her
Lightning
elemental skill
Stiletto
again to zip into
change
battle
class?
and strike quickly.
Before dropping to the
Follow
ground.
up with more electro damage, using her elemental skill to suppress the enemy. And continue to use the lightning stiletto at opportune moments to frequently move and attack.
You could wait. Oh no, he just
Keep up the
dodged. I was gonna say
offensive
you have
to
iframes for that
rapidly
too.
accumulate energy. Once full, it is time to unleash Starward Sword and bring the fight to a perfect end.
I mean, man's just soloed.
Human
Or, I mean,
history is to be written by the people.
Waifu, yeah,
Even
waifu just
without the
soloed
protection of
that
the
flower.
gods,
Okay, just did work.
Liyue would flourish as always. This is Kuching's belief. This desire to take fate into her own hands. I remember this feeling. Will she be able to bring her vision to life? To protect this land she calls home? In the hands of the
I think
Qixing,
she could.
where is Liyue headed? The road ahead is unclear, but we shall wait and see.
That was a good little story. I like that ending right there. I can't believe her name is Kaching. Such an awesome
The
name.
Fatui from Snezhnaya are known to make waves wherever they go in Tevat, and Tartaglia is a driving force within them. Of the 11 harbingers, 10 concern themselves with clandestine operations. Tartaglia is the sole exception.
Are we getting a...
Rather than lure his enemies into a trap, he prefers to face them head-on in one-on-one combat.
Head-on, one-to-one. Okay. So...
The wind is picking up. There's conflict in the
Is
air.
he a boss killer then?
His reputation precedes him.
1v1?
Child is known far and wide as a fearsome warrior.
I would not have pronounced that
In a
Child.
variety of fighting forms.
I would
He
have
can
gone
switch
like
stances
with
at will,
I
and has
Childe?
2 distinct
Childe?
modes of
Childe?
attack at his disposal.
Childe?
When Tartaglia is in your party, all characters' normal attacks gain 1 level, dealing increased damage as a result. Tartaglia is weakest with a bow, so he chooses to use one precisely to overcome this weakness. His normal attack can combo up to 6
That
consecutive
man's
shots.
just slapped an arrow at him.
Charging the attack executes a more precise shot that deals increased damage.
Okay, yeah, that's
While
pretty common
aiming,
with bow characters.
hydro energy accumulates on the arrowhead. A fully charged arrow will deal hydro damage to enemies on impact, and also apply the Riptide status to them.
The Riptide status is new. What's that?
When an enemy is affected by Riptide, further hits from Tartaglia's fully charged arrows deal multiple bouts of area of effect hydro damage.
Oh, so you hit him once with a
Also,
charge attack, hit him
When
twice with it, it
Tartaglia
does an
defeats an
AoE
enemy
attack.
affected by Riptide, it causes a hydro burst, which applies the Riptide status to nearby enemies.
Okay.
Unlocking the talent Never Ending extends the duration of Riptide. Faced with a strong foe, Tartaglia will reveal his true might. When he casts his elemental skill, he summons
little
weaponry fashioned from
Cape
pure
becomes all
hydro,
fiery.
dealing hydro damage to surrounding enemies in the process, and also switches to his melee stance. In this stance, his normal attack now combos up to 6 consecutive hydro slashes. Charging the attack consumes stamina and releases a 2-slash flurry, dealing hydro damage. In melee stance, when Tartaglia strikes an enemy affected by Riptide, he deals area of effect hydro damage. Tartaglia exits melee stance when his elemental skill is cast again, or
Really?
after a certain time has elapsed. He then returns to his ranged stance, and his
I
elemental
really
skill
like the
enters
water
cooldown.
effect he does, like when his attacks right
The
there.
longer Tartaglia spends
cool.
in melee stance, the longer the cooldown time. After unlocking the talent Sword of Torrents, when in melee stance, if Tartaglia deals a critical hit, the Riptide status is applied to the enemy.
I'm confused. When does he go to like Childe?
Depending
Childe.
on Tartaglia's stance,
Child, whatever.
his elemental burst will unleash one of 2 different attacks.
Riptide!
In ranged stance, Tartaglia swiftly fires a hydro-imbued magic arrow ahead of him, which deals area of effect hydro damage, and also applies the Riptide status to enemies. Afterwards, Tartaglia regains some of his spent energy.
Shouldn't let your guard down.
In melee
Well, that's
stance,
nifty.
Tartaglia performs a slashing
so he
attack
has
with a
2
wide
different
area of
stances.
effect, dealing substantial hydro damage to all surrounding enemies. And if the elemental burst
That
hits an
explains
enemy
why he's got a
affected
bow
by
and one
Riptide,
and
the
melee.
Riptide effect will be consumed in a hydro explosion, which deals area of effect hydro damage.
Doesn't
Tartaglia
stack.
is a formidable warrior who lives for the heat of battle. He chooses his moments to attack and retreat, and is tactical when selecting his mode of attack. This is what makes him so powerful. Faced with a single opponent,
These scenes,
start by
those were
firing
pretty
at them from a
freaking cool,
distance
not
to
gonna
apply
lie.
the Riptide status. Then, enter melee stance and go in for the kill. Use fast and frequent attacks to trigger Riptide effects and deal immense damage. Against groups of enemies, build up energy in advance, and unleash an elemental burst in ranged stance to apply the Riptide status to the group. Then enter melee stance. and attack the enemies
So,
affected by Riptide,
Melee stance is
hacking
his
away at their
ultimate,
health,
then, right?
while also restoring Tartaglia's energy.
I may have said that.
Wait for an
I must have
opportune
missed
moment to unleash another elemental burst and
But
take them
still,
all
I mean,
out
that's
in
really
one go,
interesting. Huh.
bringing the battle to a clear-cut conclusion. Few know where Tartaglia acquired his fighting skills before
That's
becoming
cool.
a Harbinger.
That's a really cool character.
Nor do many know where his lust for combat originates. There is a dangerous secret to the martial legacy he inherits, but it is one that even he himself does not fully understand.
Really?
Since becoming a Fatui Harbinger, fighting for the Tsaritsa is his new motivation as a warrior. Child is the Tsaritsa's weapon of war, and he stands for the might of Snezhnaya.
Oh, that's
An
why
icy
he's child.
storm
Okay.
is starting to blow towards the other nations. Brace yourselves. Tevat is about to get cold.
I'm gonna show Tevat the cold shoulder. Me and Tartaglia going to fuck shit up, okay? If I ever get lucky enough and pull him. Probably not, but you know, dreams can come true. Just depends how much money you have. How much money you want to put into the gacha system. Oh god. Oh.
When it comes to Liyue's sacred traditions, the divinity is in the details. Even the most fastidious of academics don't claim to know them all. And yet, the mysterious funeral consultant, Zhongli, seems to know them like the back of his hand.
Yo, Zhongli!
The ancient rite of
I heard
parting
y'all talking about
is the
this
most
guy.
unique tradition. Many details have been lost over
I've been
time,
pronouncing his name wrong this whole time.
but Zhongli is still able to perform the rite to perfection. Though he looks young, Zhongli knows each ancient tradition inside out. But his own past is shrouded in mystery.
Every journey has its final day.
Ooh.
Don't rush.
Who's that voice
Zhongli
actor?
excels at manipulating Geo, able
Sounds
to
super
create and
familiar.
absorb Geo matter, and provide sturdy shields for his allies. This, paired with his exceptional ability in combat, makes him a reliable member of your party. Zhongli seems to know everything about everything, even a simple chunk of white iron ore. He is able to pick out the best ore and use it to maximum effectiveness.
Really?
When forging polearms, Zhongli recovers a set percentage of the ores used.
Only for pole arms, though? Still, that's pretty convenient.
Zhongli's normal attack can combo up to 6 strikes, dealing physical damage to enemies.
That was a pretty
Hold
cool
the
attack.
button to consume a set amount of stamina and lunge forward, casting down stone spears across Zhongli's path, dealing significant physical damage to enemies.
Wow.
Tap Zhongli's elemental skill to summon the
Are
Geo
they
energy
fighting in a
from
vault?
within
Is
the
there just
ground,
coins around everywhere?
and form a stone steel, dealing area of effect Geo damage to enemies. While the stone steel remains, it will periodically resonate with nearby Geo constructs, dealing continuous Geo damage to surrounding enemies.
Really?
You can take advantage of this in battle. Draw enemies affected by other elements towards the stone steel, to both deal Geo damage and cause crystallize reactions. Use the elemental shield created by Crystallize to help your party survive. Stone steels can also be
That
used to
elemental
block
shield
enemy
is
attacks,
really interesting.
or climbed to traverse difficult terrain.
But what if you have multiple
Holding
elements within
Zhongli's
that
elemental
same
skill causes
area?
Geo energy around him to explode, creating a Jade shield and dealing area of effect Geo damage. The Jade shield absorbs damage. The amount absorbed scales with Zhongli's max HP and is higher against enemies' Geo
Yo,
attacks.
you can stack it. Oh my god, so HP stacking
If
all day.
Zhongli is
right
surrounded
there.
by targets affected by Geo, it will drain a large amount of Geo energy from up to 2 of them. This effect does not deal damage, but can effectively break down enemies' Geo armor and nearby ore deposits.
What?
After unlocking the talent Resonant Waves, when the Jade Shield takes damage, it will fortify your character, allowing their shield to absorb more damage.
You gotta be kidding me.
This is order.
Zhongli can bring a huge meteor crashing down, dealing massive Geo damage and applying petrification to enemies caught near the impact site. Petrified enemies become immobilized, After unlocking the talent Dominance of Earth, Planet Befall deals additional damage to enemies, which scales with Zhongli's max HP. Zhongli maintains his composure, even as he
So
meets out punishment
a lot of his
in
stuff
battle.
scales off his max HP.
His
Okay.
exceptional
All right.
ability to provide support and deal damage makes him quite prepared for any scenario. As the fight begins, first use
can tell they put
Zhongli's
a lot of
elemental
thought into his
skill to
character.
summon a stone steel and draw enemies near it, creating the ideal environment for dealing damage. Next, create a jade shield to absorb incoming damage. Then, alternate normal and charged attacks.
Using that charged
stringing
attack
together
to
attacks to
to
deal
literally
enormous
do
damage.
iframes is freaking
When
crazy. I
energy
never
is
thought
full,
about using it like that.
unleash an elemental burst and coordinate your party's attacks
I
to
was just
wipe
thinking about
out
using
the
it to
enemy.
close the gap.
While
Wow.
Liyue Harbor grows restless on the eve of disaster, as the host of the Rite of Parting, Zhongli still calmly goes about his work. The world around him may be descending into chaos, yet he remains unperturbed, sipping his tea and watching a good show. Quite the fascinating character.
I vibe with that
As
so
Liyue
hard.
faces the turbulence of change, does he believe it is none of his business? Or is he also a player in this game, acting behind the scenes? It may be some time before the answers finally emerge. But no matter, for time is not something I lack.
I do find it interesting that his background is kind of like shrouded in darkness. Like they don't really want to tell you, you know? They're just like, hey, you know, maybe something will happen, maybe not. You'll find out. Devious. How dare they keep my attention like that?
The city of pastorals, Mondstadt, is as free as the wind. Even an outsider like Albedo can become chief alchemist of the Knights of Favonius. But on the other hand, his mastery of alchemy means that no one ever would have taken much persuading.
That's true.
Mondstadt was never a nation known for its alchemy, but since Albedo's arrival, the Knights' achievements in the field sit only behind those of
Hey, look, it's
Sumeru's top
Sucrose.
scholars. Knights and academics. Not two words that one would expect to hear in the same sentence.
He's a Geo.
Instead of leading the charge in combat, the calm and collected Albedo is better suited to providing support with reliable geo-damage. Still, his skill set allows him to deal powerful attacks, meaning he more than holds his own on the battlefield. Creation is the basis of alchemy. Albedo's knowledge allows him to find ways to improve crafting recipes and make better use of materials. When crafting weapon ascension materials, he has a chance of doubling the crafting output.
See,
Albedo's normal attack
that's
can
one thing that always
combo up to
trolled me.
5
They're
strikes
like, yeah,
with
he
his
has a chance of
sword.
doubling it. You put in 11, you only get one. You're
Holding
like,
the attack button consumes a certain
doubling it,
amount of
huh?
stamina and performs 2 swift forward slashes. Tap his elemental skill to create a solar isotoma using
I
alchemy,
mean, don't get me wrong, it's a
dealing area
10%,
of
but
effect
notice how they did
geodamage.
11.
A field is created around the solar isotoma. Periodically, when an enemy within the field takes damage, a transient blossom is generated at the enemy's location. The transient blossom scales off Albedo's defense, dealing AoE geodamage to surrounding enemies.
It
a transient
scales off
blossom
his
can only be
defense?
generated once every 2 seconds. Additionally, making contact with the solar isotoma causes geoenergy to accumulate, forming
what
a
have I missed
crystallized
out on?
platform that lifts the character up to a certain height. Only one platform can exist at a time. Strategic use of the crystallized platform lets you employ plunging attacks in battle, and helps you deal with enemies up above.
That's cool. I like
When
that.
adventuring, hold Albedo's elemental skill to choose the solar isotoma's position, and use the crystallized platform to get past environmental obstacles more quickly. After
Convenient,
unlocking the
okay.
talent Calcite Might, transient blossoms deal extra damage against enemies with low health.
What's low health? Less than 30%?
Crystallized geoenergy bursts forth at Albedo's command, dealing AoE geo damage in front of Albedo. If Albedo's solar isotoma is still present on the battlefield, 7 fatal blossoms are generated in the solar isotoma field, which bloom aggressively, dealing AoE geo damage.
That's
After
cool.
unlocking the talent Homuncular Nature, Albedo's Elemental Burst increases nearby party members' elemental mastery for a period of time.
So nearby,
Albedo's
so
skill set is a
Albedo's
rare and
really a good
invaluable
support
asset
character
in combat.
for like group play too. Then.
Creative use of the solar isotoma greatly diversifies the battle, paving the party's way to certain victory. When the battle begins, create a solar isotoma with Albedo's elemental skill. As he and fellow party members attack enemies inside the solar isotoma field, transient blossoms appear and deal damage to enemies, while generating crystalline shields through elemental reactions.
I just thought about it,
Solar
but like, what if you
isotoma
ran
also
like
enables party
that'd be a
members
lot
to
of
unleash
wind,
plunging
though.
attacks.
like if you did like a
When energy is
sucrose
full,
and
have Albedo unleash
venti,
an
so you just
elemental
constantly
burst,
had like
giving
crowd
the whole
control.
party a performance boost with increased elemental
But I guess that
mastery.
wouldn't work well against bosses. I do like crowd control though. Not gonna lie, I really like crowd control.
No one can dispute Albedo's talent, but the source of the knowledge he possesses, it once brought about the destruction of a glorious nation.
Really.
All that most people know of him is his title, Kryda Prince, and that he gained his position in the Knights on recommendation from Alice the Adventurer. Beyond this, the young man is a stranger to
He's
them,
just out here
a
drawing with chalk,
complete
huh?
mystery,
What a badass.
and the essence of his knowledge is equally unknown.
What a beautiful
But
backdrop.
I know it well. It hails from Canria, the art of chemia. Soil and chalk, the universe and earth, pure dust and the birth of human life. There is no mistaking it. I am content to watch most crises play out from the sidelines, but if Albedo were ever to make a single wrong move, I could not let myself ignore it.
Really? If So who's the narrator? Is that a character then? I wonder. Interesting.
Given Liyue's present prosperity, it's only natural that the city's operational support should match its scale. For millennia, from the birth of the Liyue Qixing to its current roster of 7, they've all relied on the Yuehai Pavilion's secretary, the half-Qilin illuminated beast Ganyu, who assists the mortals in handling the most crucial matters. Although I detest deities, and have no liking for the Adepti who sign contracts with the Geo Archon, a person like Ganyu is still deserving of my respect.
My job is to honor my contract with Rex Lapis by looking out for the interests of all living things in Liyue.
It is said that when a Qilin is brought to fight, the sun will lose its light. Ganyu is a force to be reckoned with, an archer with an exceptional aptitude for aimed shots. Her mastery over
What the heck
cryo
is that
lends
appearing
itself
above
well
her
to
head?
high-damage burst attacks, while her skills are of great help to her and her allies during combat.
That combo though.
Through centuries of training, Ganyu's archery has reached the acme of perfection. She excels at not only using bows, but also making them. Though she no longer needs to fight on the front lines, she still knows bow and arrow like the back of her hand.
That's a really graceful
While
move right there.
forging
Girl's
bow-type
firing the
weapons,
arrow and then
Ganyu
sliding her leg back
recovers a
like
set
that.
percentage of the ores
That's
used.
fancy.
Her normal attack can combo up to 6 consecutive shots, dealing physical damage to enemies.
Dude, that's so cool.
Charging
Her
the
little-
attack executes a more precise shot that deals increased damage. Based on its charge time, the shot generates different effects.
Really?
Charge level 1 fires off an icy arrow that deals cryo damage.
Okay, and then is charge 2 the...
Charge level 2 fires off a frost flake arrow that deals cryo damage
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
blooms after hitting its target, dealing AoE cryo damage.
I'm gonna just get instantly
Frost
frozen. That's
flake
so cool.
arrow's power is best used against distant groups of enemies to maximize its effect.
It's got a little shotgun effect
After
going on.
unlocking the talent Undivided Heart, within a set period of time after shooting a Frostflake arrow, the next Frostflake arrow and its bloom will receive a crit rate bonus.
Well, that's
Tap
really good for
Ganyu's
clearing out
elemental
minions
skill
then.
to dash backward, leaving an Ice Lotus in her place that deals cryo damage and continuously taunts surrounding enemies, attracting them to attack it. When destroyed, or once its duration ends, it blooms profusely, dealing AoE cryo damage.
Wow.
Ice Lotus's endurance scales based on Ganyu's max HP.
And its HP scaling
Dexterous
as well.
use of Ice Lotus can effectively redirect enemy fire, creating a safe environment for Ganyu to dish out damage.
Glaze over.
Yeah, what's
Ganyu
what's this
coalesces
ultimate orb
atmospheric
about here?
frost to summon a sacred cryo pearl. While it's active, the sacred cryo pearl will continuously rain down shards of ice upon enemies within a set area, dealing cryo damage. Celestial Shower deals damage while serving as a reliable
if you were
source
to
of
combine
cryo
that with, like,
allows Ganyu's allies to trigger corresponding elemental reactions and further increase their
Venti's
damage
attack.
output. After unlocking the talent
Golly.
Harmony Between Heaven and Earth with Ganyu in your party,
What a
all
combo.
active party members within Celestial Shower's AoE gain a cryo damage bonus. As an archer, Ganyu knows to keep her enemies at a safe distance and avoid close quarters combat. A constant barrage of frostflake arrows is what makes her strengths truly shine, leading her to victory. Ganyu can use her elemental skill to get out of harm's way and taunt her opponents, allowing her to then fire frostflake arrows unbothered, dealing damage to groups of enemies from
I wonder
afar.
how you'd want to build Ganyu.
When her energy is full, Ganyu can unleash her elemental burst to further increase
Obviously, you
her
want
ability
HP.
to deal damage.
But like, she gets
When
extra
facing
crit,
more formidable
crit
foes
chance.
together with her allies,
So would you just want crit
Ganyu's
rate then?
ability to taunt and infuse enemies with cryo is an effective form of support for the whole party that allows for defeating enemies in one fell swoop.
Hey, look, it's the drum girl.
The Liyue Qixing has changed over generations. Centuries have passed in the blink of an eye. Ganyu's accompanied Liyue through many a storm, but Liyue Harbor itself, can this city really become a safe harbor for an Adeptus in the world of mortals?
Tell me, can it?
When the Geo-Archon Morax was alive, an Adeptus like Ganyu could find a sense of belonging in the human city. But at present, when the rite of parting has already marked his end, the loneliness of an inhuman living in the human world, will it take Ganyu over completely?
That's a good question. That's so interesting. Like, how would you even want to build that character? Because, like, you can't do rapid attacks. So you'd want to do big hits. So probably, like,
Many fell in the Archon
a
War,
sprinkling of crit chance.
but though their life force faded, their power
damage.
and malice survived as remnants, posing a continued threat to the world. In Liyue, the task of ending this threat, or rather, enduring
Ooh,
it,
this boy.
falls to Xiao. To most in Liyue, Xiao is a name seldom heard, and as the few who have seen him can attest, he appears only when grave danger is nigh.
Really?
Coming across this Adeptus, should one count their blessings or their curses?
Conquering demons is what I do.
Hailed as the conqueror
I don't know how I
of
feel about his
demons,
voice actor.
Xiao's abilities are unparalleled among the Adepti. As such, he vanquishes demons without breaking a sweat. Xiao is agile. His movement skills allow him to dart around the battlefield, and when he dons the mask of the Yaksha, his abilities are enhanced even further.
Yo, his little
as he
green, like,
purges
outline
evil
is
and
cool.
protects
Whoa!
Liyue.
He could just keep spamming that
After
over
years
and
of
over again?
honing his
You
abilities,
serious?
Xiao has developed an Adeptus art that affords him strength at high altitudes. When Xiao is in the party, the active character consumes less stamina while climbing.
That's cool.
Xiao's normal attack can combo up to 6 strikes, dealing physical damage to enemies. Holding the attack button causes Xiao to consume stamina and perform an upward thrust, dealing physical damage and lifting enemies into the air. While airborne, press attack to perform a plunging attack, striking enemies on the way down and dealing AoE damage upon landing.
Can't
Xiao
Shingling
will
do that
not
too?
lose HP from a plunging attack, no matter how high he starts.
Really? Okay, never mind.
Use Xiao's elemental skill to lunge forward, dealing anemo damage to enemies in his path. make adept use of this skill to dart effortlessly around the battlefield, dealing damage while tactically adjusting your position.
That is really cool that you
Also,
can constantly just keep warping
wind
past.
cycling can be used while airborne, making it easy for Shao to navigate challenging terrain, aiding with exploration. Lemniscatic wind cycling starts with 2 charges available. After unlocking the talent Dissolution Eon Heaven Fall, if Shao uses multiple charges in quick succession, damage dealt increases with each one.
Evil conquering!
When Shao unleashes an elemental burst, he dons the Yaksha's mask that once struck
he's got
fear
them
into
cool ass
gods and
attacks, that
demons alike.
greenness. I like
His
it.
attacks now deal animo damage, which cannot be overridden by another elemental infusion. And Shao's attack AoE and damage are both increased. In addition, Shao's jumping ability is greatly enhanced, allowing him to assail the enemy with plunging attacks.
Literally just
The
spam the
Yaksha's
plunge
mask
attack.
brings enormous power.
I wonder where you have
great
iframes in that spot, in that attack.
During
you can time it
Shao's
right.
elemental burst, he will continually lose HP. This effect stops if he leaves the field. After unlocking the talent Conqueror of Evil, Tamer of Demons, while Bane of All Evil is active, Shao's damage gradually increases.
Oh, that's nifty. Okay, so as you lose
When
life,
Shao
you gain
goes into battle,
more damage,
danger
but you have to
follows
unlock
in his
that,
wake.
of course.
To avoid harming others, he acts quickly, completing the task at hand as efficiently as possible.
That's a really cool
As the
still
fight
frame
begins,
right there.
Shao uses his elemental skill to move rapidly around the battlefield, changing strategic positions, dealing damage as he goes, and building up energy. When his energy is full, he unleashes his elemental burst and harnesses the power of the Yaksha's mask
Man, just keep
to incapacitate the enemy
jump
with
down,
plunging
jump down,
attacks
jump down.
and finish off every last one.
That was a good finish. That was a real good
For
finish.
millennia, tales of the Yakshas have been told in Liyue. But over time, these defenders of the masses have all but disappeared. Only Shao still honors his contract with the Geo Archon by performing the duties assigned to him, though the cost of this duty is perpetual solitude. I know that Adepti suffer heartache just as I do, but I cannot know Shao's future. Will Shao be ravaged by the unending war he wages and be plunged into despair? Or will he meet someone who understands his sacrifice and can shine a ray of light into his dark world?
I mean, there are plenty of waifus in this game for you to do that, Shao. You got this, buddy. Okay? You got this. If you find yourself a waifu, Shao, find yourself a waifu.